on, don't move! Hands in the air!
You are under arrest for the murder of Hugh Crosby.
Solar is one of the longest-standing fugitives on the FBI's most wanted list, was arrested yesterday, 30 years after the notorious bank robbery that claimed the life of a guard.
Well, that was from the movie The Company You Keep, out in a number of U.S. theaters today. It's a Robert Redford flick about a former member of the radical group, the domestic terrorist group, the Weather Underground. The movie is loosely based on the real-life 1981 robbery of a Brinks truck in New York State that killed 2 police officers and 1 guard. And some conservative critics are asking why this film and its reviewers seem to be overlooking some of the lives lost to this group. Guy Benson is a radio talk show host and political editor of townhall.com. Guy, welcome. We had on yesterday one of the victims of that robbery. We had on his son, the Brinks driver, the Brinks guard. His son came on and was just disgusted that this has been made, that anybody would think this is appropriate fodder for entertainment in the theater. 9 children were left without fathers as a result of this incident, and yet, you know, Hollywood's taken a shot at it, and so far the critics seem to really think it's great. Your thoughts?
I'm surprised it's taken this long, Megan, to have a story about the Weather Underground glorified in Hollywood. And I'm really suspicious about whether or not this movie is going to really do anything at the box office. We've seen time after time that some of these self-indulgent left-wing flicks just bomb when it comes to actual Americans showing up to plunk down $9 to see it, whereas movies, for instance, in the last year that portray America as the unequivocal good guys, be it the movie about the Iran hostage situation in Argo, or of course the Bin Laden killing. These are movies that do very well. They're huge smash hits. And I think it's interesting in particular, this is a Robert Redford film. It's his first time in front of the camera in a major role since 2007 when he did a movie called Lions for Lambs, which was a critique of the Afghanistan war. It did terribly at the box office. So I think Americans should vote with their wallets on this one. Hollywood has a right to make it, just don't watch it.
It's no accident that we're, Susan Sarandon and Robert Redford tee up to talk about a domestic terrorist group, and what kind of angle do you think they are going to have when they present it? And so far, if you look at, the early feedback, Variety calls it an unabashedly heartfelt but competent tribute to the 1960s idealism, going on saying there's something undeniably compelling, perhaps even romantic, about America's 60s radicals and the compromises they did or did not make. The compromises. I mean, they were against the Vietnam War, I get that, a lot of people were, and they went out, they protested, and they didn't murder anyone here.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. What kind of compromises are we talking about? Are we talking about how big is the bomb we're going to build to go and place people in danger? I mean, that's completely absurd. I will say this on behalf of this movie that's coming out today and then nationwide in a couple days from now. They do get one thing historically right. This gang of thugs do kill an off-duty police officer. That's historically accurate. These people have gone to prison. You were covering Kathy Boudin, who's now at Columbia University in a nice academic perch. She was involved in a killing of 3 people, including 2 police officers in 1981.
Pleaded guilty to killing 3 people.
Yep, and lied about her role, her larger role within the Weather Underground and all the bombings. And she's not the only one. You've got Bill Ayers, of course, and Bernardine Dorn, who is now a law professor at my alma mater, Northwestern, a law professor. This is a woman who was responsible and planned for all sorts of bombings across the country. She and Ayers are both unapologetic. And Megan, here's another thing. I can't wrap my head around this. Let's say Hollywood somehow had some weird aneurysm. They decided, let's put together a film that portrays unreformed, unapologetic abortion clinic bombers in a good light. And they somehow made that film. What would the critical reception be for that film? What would the reception be among pro-lifers? I'll tell you what it would be. We would reject it as pro-lifers, because in this country, you don't go around bombing for things that you want. You don't bomb for peace, as the Weather Underground attempted to do. And, I mean, apparently there are just different standards for radical, violent extremists, depending on which end of the spectrum they happen to occupy.
And then come out as a reviewer and talk about how romantic their idealism is. I mean, can you imagine? So, in any event, it will be out there in the theaters for people to consume or not, if they so choose.
Not.
Guy, thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
Coming up, a writer for a leading magazine says President Obama needs sensitivity training after he complimented the good looks of California's female attorney general. We'll take a look at whether he was out of line right after this break. And this man was sent to prison for life. And now the star witness for the prosecution in his murder case admits that much of what she testified to on the stand was a lie. But is it too late for this man convicted of murder? And does it really change the case? Kelly's Court sorts it out.